Grand Arising Soul Fam. Today I am coming on and sharing from the Tao Oracle by Ma Deva Padma while I am celebrating 40 days of Venus retrograde. Today, contemplating Gene Key 62. This is the shadow of intellect, the gift of precision, and the city or the divine expression of impeccability. And according to the Tao, this is small is beautiful. Loving that. Here's a couple of keywords. Find the extraordinary in the ordinary. Keep it simple. Use discretion. Slow down. Tend to details. And pay attention. Imagine if that was the currency that we used. You went to the supermarket and you're like, oh, that's going to be your attention, your investment of energy. And that was the currency that we used everywhere we went. Okay, here we go. Anything you take on right now should be handled as though it were a butterfly's wings. This delicate time requires a realistic consideration of both your limitations and your capacities so that you can be honest about what you can and you can't do. Be conscientious, but be true to yourself first. The Tao continually restores equilibrium by relieving excess. You've become maxed out in some area of your life, however, and it's time to slow down and get back in touch with yourself. You can't afford to project an in-demand cruising in the fast lane image. That would tip the scales to the point of collapse. We tend to believe that busy and bright is good, silent and subtle is boring. That ideal can keep us flooring the gas pedal even when the tank is empty and we're running on fumes. Then we lurch to a full stop and wonder, what the hell just happened? At the first sign that you need to simplify, ease off and cut back. Any other course is just irresponsible and will compound problems for everyone. Relaxing the breath is one way to come back home to your center again. If you find that you're holding your breath, perhaps out of unconscious anxiety, just notice what you're thinking, and then relax your breath and let go of your thoughts. This lessens the grip of the fixated mind and relaxes the body too. Whatever you're doing, working, shopping, driving, brushing your teeth, check in with your breath anytime that you remember to. No need to judge. There's no success or failure here. The whole point is just to watch, to take note and relax. You'll see how this lightens the tendency to get preoccupied, overly emotional and serious. We tend to fight our need to slow down, perhaps believing we'll miss something or being overlooked or unacknowledged. Appreciating the need to retreat takes maturity and the capacity to see that going with the flow of nature, not against it, is our highest priority. It's shocking to the driven ego to realize that changes are being forced against its will. It blames cruel fate for pulling the plug on its plans. Yet indulging in that childish attitude will keep you continuously tense and threatened by the unexpected. This is the time to experiment with practicing patience and to learn to trust that life provides without your having to struggle to make it happen. But this doesn't mean dropping the ball on your responsibilities. Whatever you might have brushed aside as insignificant or a nuisance should not be overlooked now. Consider everything with equanimity. Pay attention to the right timing and be ready to constantly adjust, even if that means withdrawing. Make peace with vulnerability by incorporating the remembrance of life's transitory nature into all that you do. Thousands of years ago, the Chinese sage Lao Tzu wrote, "Practice not doing, and everything will fall into place." Sounds so easy, yet without humility, it's impossible. Respecting how delicate and precious this life is engenders humbleness and the willingness to live in accordance with the Tao. Here are the changes. Bottom line. Stay with the tried and true. If that fails to bring results, it's not because the traditional doesn't cut it, it's because you just weren't ready to take on all that was being asked of you. Line 2. To a certain extent, your hands are tied. Even under the present challenging circumstances, with sensitivity and a positive outlook, all will work out. You may find the results exceed your expectations. Line 3. You've seriously overextended yourself. Continuing in this driven manner would be disastrous. Better to back off than risk a head-on collision. Line 4. And And I gotta say, if you've got 62 in your hologenetic gene key profile, these lines are gonna note the number that's after the dot. So maybe you have 62.3, then that line 3 might be something for you to pay attention to. Line 4. The situation calls for absolute awareness. Take every precaution to not ruffle feathers. Pressing on in spite of this warning would not only be foolish, but you'd end up in a real mess. Forewarned is forearmed. Sit tight and keep a low profile. Line 5. You can't go much further without support from others, but not just anyone will do. So take the time to center yourself, still your mind, and balance any extremes that might be throwing you out of whack. By tending to these basics, you stand a good chance of attracting the expertise, understanding, and depth of character you need in others now. And top line, line 6. Icarus attempted to fly to the sun with wings made of wax. When he got too close, they melted. Bye-bye, Icarus. Now replace the name Icarus with your own. Enough said. Small is beautiful. Finding the extraordinary in the ordinary, appreciating the stillness, enjoying the silence. This is the impeccable nature of being precise with our energy. Sending you so much love.